You've got to shoot this bit, Margaret. You've got to shoot it.
Hello, listeners, and welcome back to the Way Out podcast, brought to you in partnership with the fabulous Ski Weekends. I'm Dom from In the Snow magazine, and as always, I love to introduce my awesome friend and co-host, travel partner to Canada, co-host Rob Stewart. How are you?
Well, good, Dom. Thanks for the welcome, and welcome, listeners, to another episode of the White Out Ski podcast. We are both back from what can only be described as an epic trip to Nova Scotia, right? Not just Canada, but Nova Scotia and Cape Smokey. Very special.
Yeah. That word epic gets used too much, but that was some epic trip, Rob. We're going to be talking about later on, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it really was. First time in Nova Scotia for me. And you think Nova Scotia, it just sounds this kind of wild place. And it actually is. And
Definitely lived up to that, didn't it?
I really liked it. It's one of those places just go, wow, this is so cool. And we're going to talk about it more, but it was a brilliant place. Loved it.
Yeah, it's great to be here again, Rob, bringing our listeners the latest ski news from around the world, where it's best to ski now, reviews of the hottest ski gear for the season, regular race updates from the Ski Racing podcast with Ed Drake, and of course, each week we delve into some of the most incredible ski destinations on the planet. We might have given away who we're going to be talking about there. And all that in association with Ski Weekends, our trusted headline sponsor this season.
Oh, yeah, very fortunate to have such a great partner on board with the White Out Ski podcast. Ski Weekends, specialists in short break ski holidays, offering 3, 4 or 7 night stays in catered chalets and fully flexible hotel options. Whether you're a solo traveller, planning a group trip, or looking for accommodation in some of the biggest and best ski areas, Ski Weekends has you covered. For more details, visit skiweekends.com.
I love the guys at Ski Weekends. We've been working with them for almost 18 years now. I think Ski Weekends was one of our first customers with the ski magazine. It's incredible. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a great company.
They've got some great chalets out in some of the best resorts and, proper original catered chalet holidays as well they do, don't they? There's not many of those around anymore.
There aren't. So, Dom, what have we got coming up in today's episode?
Another packed episode, Rob, as it usually is. We hear from Ed Drake from the Ski Racing podcast on the latest updates in the world of ski racing as we head into the World Cup finals in Sun Valley and look at a brand we haven't come across called Woolpower in advance of visiting them in their hometown in Sweden next week.
Right.
We also answer the question of how to become the best ski photographer as we welcome a special guest this episode, Ross Woodhall, coming on.
Yes, and what a special guest to have on the show, the long-haired rock star ski photography of the industry. More of him later and his crazy antics of the last 30 plus years of taking pictures of crazy people jumping off things all around the world. What a job. What a life. Yeah.
So, first up in the news, if you're planning a ski or snowboard trip, there's something crucial to bear in mind, and that is snow blindness. An optician at Feel Good Contact warns about the dangers of prolonged UV exposure on snowy mountains. Whilst we're all familiar with wearing sunglasses in summer, the winter sun can be just as harmful. So they say that snow reflects up to 80% of UV rays, leading to snow blindness or photokeratitis. This happens when UV light damages your cornea, causing irritation, blurred vision, or even temporary vision loss. Crikey, this is terrifying.
Actually,
to prevent it, wear goggles with 100% UVA and UVB protection. Polarized sunglasses with a close fit are a good option when you're not skiing. If you start feeling symptoms like light sensitivity or blurry vision, seek shelter in a dark room, remove contact lenses, and apply a cool, damp cloth to your eyes for relief. Blimey, that's pretty serious, isn't it?
Yeah, it is serious.
Over-the-counter painkillers can help, but if symptoms last more than a couple of days, see a professional. Wood also points out that winter air can dry out your eyes, so stay hydrated and use lubricating eye drops, especially if you're wearing contacts. Jane Bolton from Earn a Low, friend of the show, also reminds us that UV radiation increases at higher altitudes. SPF 50 plus is essential for skiing to protect your skin from strong UV rays reflected by the snow. So the message is stay safe, protect your eyes and your skin, and enjoy the slopes.
It's a serious message, Dom. Always wear sunglasses or goggles when you are skiing or snowboarding. It's as simple as that. It is a very sensible, important message.
And just on that note, we've got the best ski sunglasses for spring skiing about to hit the In the Snow Mag YouTube channel, so maybe we'll feature those on the podcast next week. What else, Rob?
Exciting news from Crans-Montana, Switzerland. The ski resort, set to host the 2027 Alpine Skiing World Championships, recently debuted its newly redesigned National course. It's created under the guidance of 2010 Winter Olympic downhill champion Didier Defargo, who I very luckily got to ski that new course with him in December. The first competition on the revamped course took place a couple of weeks ago, on February the 22nd. Swiss skier Franjo von Allmen secured his first ever World Cup downhill win in a thrilling Swiss podium, edging out teammate Marco Odermatt by just 0.13 seconds. On February the 23rd, Marco Odermatt clinched his 45th World Cup victory in the Super G event. He's dominating the sport at the moment, but he's got his younger compatriot right behind him now. Swiss are doing incredibly well. But the new National course, praised for its technical challenges, spectator-friendly design, it's a key part of Crans-Montana's preparations for the 2027 World Championships. And marketing manager Pierre-Henri Minetti expressed his pride in the weekend's success, showcasing the resort's commitment to hosting world-class skiing events. So Crans-Montana is clearly gearing up to welcome the global ski community in 2027. It's a very exciting couple of years for the ski resort as everybody looks towards that Alpine Skiing World Championships, last held, of course, in 1987, which was a big memory for me because I was so into my ski racing when I was a teenager. I just stuck myself to the TV over those. There was brilliant coverage from the BBC back then in Crans-Montana for that Alpine Skiing World Championships. And I always dreamed about going to Crans-Montana to ski that ski run. And of course, those dreams came true many times.
Bringing a tear to my eye, Rob. So next up, Ski Independence awarded FIFO's Exceptional Service Badge. That's good news in the industry because they are a good friend of the show and previous sponsors of the Whiteout Ski podcast. They've earned the prestigious FIFO's Exceptional Service Badge alongside the FIFO Gold Trusted Service Award. Easy for you to say. So they recognise outstanding customer service with Exceptional Service Badge being awarded to just 32 companies globally. Wow, that's incredible. FIFO, the world's largest provider of verified reviews, grants these awards based on customer feedback, review response rates, and overall service performance. Ski Independence stood out for consistently exceeding customer expectations, with Managing Director Michael Bennett praising his team for their dedication. FIFO CEO Tony Wabel congratulated Ski Independence for going above and beyond during challenging times, setting a benchmark for excellence in customer service. That is some recognition, and it's the first company I ever booked a ski holiday with.
Yeah, nice. Well, it sounds like a really genuine award. You know, big congratulations to Ski Independence for getting such an award. Brilliant. I've never been on a ski trip with Ski Independence, so that tempts me, Dom. It does seriously tempt me to go, right, next time, I'll give them a call. Right.
Very good.
Here's another news story. So the plans for the 300 billion ski slope and resort in Merthyr Tydfil are facing a major setback. The development, which includes an indoor snow centre, water park, activity centres, hotel rooms and woodland lodges, is recommended for a refusal by council planning officers. The proposed site, located near the A470 roundabout, has raised significant concerns over its location, ecological impact and visual disruption, especially since it's situated near historic sites and nature reserves.
It's not looking good, is it?
No. Supporters of the project argue it could provide significant economic benefits such as job creation, local business growth and enhanced tourism for the region. With 141 letters of support versus 23 objections, the debate will come to a head when the Council Planning Committee meets on March 12th. I mean,
we keep on hearing stories about more slopes being opened in the UK and then they keep being quashed, don't they?
This one in particular, Dom, this has been going on for years. I remember as a child there was going to be a ski centre built in Merthyr Tydfil on the side of the mountain with real snow. These days that would be very hard to maintain, even with artificial snow. It's so frustrating, and I think for many local people it's very frustrating as well.
So next up, freeride skiing and snowboarding could make their Olympic debut at the 2030 Winter Games in France after being acquired by the International Ski and Snowboard Federation in 2022 and officially recognised as a discipline in 2024. Freeride is now a serious contender. Love it. So the IOC is set to vote on the inclusion of the new sport in September, with freeride being highly favoured due to its growing popularity and appeal. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see if this starts forming a part of the Olympics.
Yeah.
Spectacular and unpredictable nature, they say, could be the perfect fit for the Olympics. The Freeride World Tour gaining momentum. The future looks bright for freeride in the 2030 Games. That could be interesting.
Yeah, the sport's come a long way. If you go back 30 years, I remember no helmets, skiing down, trying to jump off little cliffs. Some people jumped off big cliffs. And it was a very amateur feel about the sport. Then Freeride World Tour came along, FIS took it over, and now looking towards making it an Olympic sport. I think it's fantastic. GB snowboarder Cody Bramwell wins Freeride World Tour stop in Georgia.
Wow.
Love a bit of Georgia. Cody Bramwell clinched his first win of the season at the Freeride World Tour stop in Georgia, showcasing a stunning run that included a huge backflip and a smooth windlip 360, earning him 85 points. The victory boosts his confidence as he approaches the final stages of the season. With only one stop remaining before the tour cut in Fieberbrunn, Austria, the competition is heating up. Yeah, stay tuned for those updates. If you had a chance to watch some of that Georgia footage from the Freeride World Tour, it's absolutely fantastic. Based, of course, in Mestia, up on the Technoldy side of the region there. The terrain is absolutely incredible up there.
I love having that one in the background. I have that in the background while I'm working and absolutely love just listening. I love the commentary. I love everything about it. It's just such an amazing event.
Incredible.
Next up, ever wonder what happens to old wind turbine blades?
I've always wondered about that.
Yeah, exactly. Spend all my
now
days.
we know. We do know.
Well, they might just end up beneath your feet on the slopes in a unique collaboration. Energy company Vattenfall, a Norwegian recycling specialist in Kjentgraft, and ski manufacturer EVI have found a way to turn decommissioned turbine blades into high-performance skis. It's a major step towards sustainability in ski manufacturing, a great example of circular economy in action. Wow, that's quite something.
Yeah.
Blimey.
I know. It's pretty interesting, isn't it, to think that you might be using old wind blades to ski on. I mean, it's quite cool. This press release actually dropped into my inbox recently, Dom. And I was like, that's quite a cool story, actually.
Yeah.
You know, it's very clever.
Well, to put them to the test, Vattenfall has ordered 15 pairs of skis, covering everything from alpine to carving and even race skis. If you're curious to see how they ride, you can test them out at the Women's World Cup Slalom in Åre, Sweden on March 9th and 8th and 9th, where Vattenfall will have a dedicated ski test area right next to the race course. You can take a look at group.vattenfall.com. So I'll put that in the show notes. Pretty interesting. Skiing on turbine blades. Look at that.
Well, that sounds fun. Next story, Candid Tovex. The free skiing legend has been immortalised on the Massif de Balme of Clusaz, where he's originally from. The resort's given one of its most famous sons a permanent place in its ski area. Free skiing legend Candid Tovex, known for his groundbreaking style and creativity, now has a black run named after him on the Massif de Balme, the very mountain where he first honed his skills.
Wow.
You know, Candide, he's one of the most influential skiers of all time. There's no doubt about that. Career that's pushed the limits of what's possible. His early days ripping around the Clusaz, where he started, all the way through to this international fame, you know, these incredible video edits. I mean, he's always stayed true to his roots. It's very interesting because on the ski test, we work with Sam Temple, former Olympic mogul skier, British team mogul skier. And Sam spent a lot of time in Le Clusaz back in the day training with the French team. And he knew Candide as a kid. And he sort of helped Candide, you know, learn some of his first jumps. He's got some brilliant stories about that, which is really cool. Very nice to have had that experience and know the family and know Candide. And then look what happened to Candide. You know, he just went stratospheric.
Definitely a claim to fame when you can say, well, I helped Candide with some of his early jumps.
I actually met him very briefly. A couple of years ago, outside the little cafe at the bottom of the cable car station with Glenn Plake. Literally standing there with Glenn Plake, right? And this guy runs out of the cafe and Glenn. And it was Candide. And I couldn't take a picture of it. I sort of tried to sneak a sneaky one. I was going to get my phone destroyed because Candide's in disguise. Amazing, really. Yeah, very cool.
Definitely. Well, it's time for Where is Best to Ski Now. We both love talking about snow, Rob. Let's face essentially what we're all about. So let's get stuck into where the best snow conditions are right now and where is best to ski right now. I'm hoping first thing you say is Cervinia, because that's where I'm off to next.
If you're going to go to Cervinia, I think you should expect some brilliant snow conditions there. It starts at 2,000 metres and whacks up to over 3,000 metres. One of the most snowshore ski resorts in the entire world. You can't really go wrong there.
Right, I'm going to do a quick run through. Rob, are you ready for this? Are you going to listen? I'm going to do the whole snow report today.
You go for it.
In Austria, it's been a sunny week and that sunshine is expected to continue. Temperatures are creeping into the teens at lower levels, so the best skiing conditions are happening in the late morning to early afternoon, especially at higher altitude. Big areas like Saalbach-Hinterglemm and the Arlberg region, including Lech and St Anton, are offering nearly 300 kilometres of open slopes. The snow's still looking great up top, so it's a solid choice if you want to catch some spring skiing conditions while it's still good. Moving over to France, it's been a dry week after some decent snowfall last week. Sunshine is back, but there's a bit of a freeze-thaw pattern with warmer afternoons and colder nights, just what we'd expect at this time of the year. The French Alps are still holding strong with the deepest snow in Europe. Flaine is the standout with a 3 metre base. 3 metre base in Flaine, fantastic. Large ski areas like the Three Valleys, Team Val d'Isère and Paradis Ski are still open with 90 to 95% of their slopes in action. Moving over to Italy. Oh, I'm interested in this because that's where I'm going to be when this podcast comes out. Italy has been enjoying sunny weather following last week's snowfall. Temperatures have been rising to plus 15 at lower altitude, but skiing is still great at higher altitude. The Milky Way, the Via Lattea, is the top area in Italy with over 300 kilometres of slopes open. Dolomiti Superski has more than 90% of its 1,200 kilometres of runs open. So if you're in the mood for some Italian charm and spring skiing, you've still got plenty of options. Then over to Switzerland. Sunny skies have ruled the week, though a front is expected to bring some snow later this weekend in time for this podcast going out. But for now, Saas-Fee is leading the charge with the deepest snow at 2.3 metres. If you want to see a video about Saas-Fee, because we've been there earlier this month, then you can head over to our YouTube channel In the Snow Mag and hear all about Saas-Fee. The Four Valleys around Verbier has the most terrain open in the country with around 350 kilometres of slopes ready for action. Heading over to the Pyrenees, they have had the snowiest region in Europe this week with 10 to 20 centimetres of fresh snow in many areas. While the snow isn't deep enough to drastically change terrain coverage, most resorts are still 80 to 100% open. Gran Valira in Andorra has also around 190 kilometres of slopes open, including popular spots like Pas de la Casa and Soldeo. Spain's Baquira Beret is also looking great for spring skiing. If you want to know more about Baquira Beret, then head over to Series 4 Episode 7 earlier this season, where we did a complete showcase, 25 minutes dedicated to Beret. Further afield, across in Scandinavia's region, it's been a mixed bag with a week of snow, sleet and rain in parts of Norway, Finland and Sweden. That said, there's still plenty of terrain open and some fresh snowfalls have made for excellent skiing. Levi in Finland is still going strong and Voss in Norway is a great option for those who want to enjoy the Scandinavian slopes. Looking up towards Eastern Europe, it's been mostly sunny across the Tatra Mountains and Bulgaria's Balkans, but like the rest of Europe, there's some freeze-thaw conditions as you'd expect. That said, Bansko in Bulgaria and Jasna in Slovakia and Spilderov in Czech Republic are all reporting 80 to 100% of their terrain open. The best snow depths right now are in Bulgaria, where the conditions are still great for spring skiing. Scotland, the weather's been unpredictable. Never. Can't believe it. As usual, with a mix of rain, snow and sleet. The Highlands have seen some snow up top, with the funicular at Cairngorm running and Glencoe offering some ski touring terrain. Not the best snow conditions, but if you're in the area, you can definitely get some turns in. Moving across the pond in Canada, Western ski resorts have been experiencing spring-like conditions with temperatures above freezing and sunshine dominating, but fear not, winter is making a return with some snowfall expected this weekend. Oh, yes! Tremblant on the east coast has been dealing with some rain, but it's back to snow now and they've got the most terrain open this season. On the west coast, things are looking promising with a return to winter conditions. It's been a great week for snowfall, particularly on the west coast and in the Rockies. I'm heading to Colorado in a couple of weeks' time to head up to Aspen and Snowmass. Mammoth Mountain is reporting the deepest snow in North America at 15 feet, 4.5 metres. Wow. However, the East Coast has had some warmer spells with rain and sleet affecting conditions temporarily. The good news is that most US resorts have all their terrain open and they are gearing up for some fantastic spring skiing. So there you have it. Whether you're heading to the Alps, Scandinavia, North America, the Pyrenees, Canada, there's still plenty of fantastic places to ski and board right now. Spring skiing's in full swing. Conditions are looking great across many resorts. I'm heading out to Cervinia. In fact, I'm out in Cervinia while this podcast is going live. It's very exciting. Get out for some spring skiing. It's the best time to go. You get the sunshine, you get the snow. And if it's anything like previous years, we're probably going to get a few dumps during March and April. Right, so there you go, Rob. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's in a good shape generally at the moment. I think, as we see normally, we'll get some more snow before this winter is done. I'm sure about that.
It's been a pretty good winter.
I think it's been a solid winter. There's decent snow levels, especially above 1,600 meters. I think we can easily say in the Alps, it has been the best winter in several years.
Light's gone. I'm going to change these lenses, people.
Next up, Rob, is the Gear Guide, where in conjunction with our In the Snow Mag YouTube channel, we delve into previews and reviews of the latest gear that's caught our eye. From skis and boots to helmets and goggles, whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, we've got gear to keep you safe and stylish. What have we got this week? Maybe before we launch into that, we have competition. It's competition. We've got a 3-night stay at the Elizabeth Art Hotel for 2 guests, double or twin room, with half board, daily breakfast, and a 6-course meal with house wines.
I mean, the Elizabeth Art Hotel. Now, where exactly is that?
In Ischgl.
Oh, in Ischgl.
Yes. A €500 travel voucher towards flight costs and getting there. Transfers between Innsbruck Airport and Elizabeth Art Hotel for 2 people. A 3-day ski pass for 2 guests and a 3-day ski equipment hire for 2 people. My goodness, Rob, is this competition of a lifetime or what?
It sounds brilliant. Elizabeth Art Hotel in Ischgl for 2.
Yeah.
That sounds like a brilliant prize.
Basically everything. You've got an all-inclusive package here. All you've got to do, you've got to leave a review for the podcast and then go over to our webpage at inthesnow.com and input your details for the competition. Tell us your username when you've left the review on the podcast, and a random winner will be picked in 2 weeks. How cool is that?
Yeah, that sounds like a great prize, Dom. Ischgl, brilliant ski resort. Big area, of course, great free ride terrain, very long runs as well, really nice scenery and easy to get to from Innsbruck or Zurich. Great prize. Brilliant
Great prize. So first up in our gear guide for this week. Next week, we see us heading out to Östersund in Sweden to check out Woolpower. Well, this brand has been keeping people warm since 1972. Based in Sweden, Woolpower specialises in designing and manufacturing high-performance merino wool clothing. Situated in the cold northern part of Sweden, they definitely know a thing or two about staying warm in freezing temperatures. Do you know them, Rob?
I've definitely heard of Woolpower. I think I've probably seen some of their stuff before at trade shows because they've got this unique process. They've perfected the art of making base and mid layers that not only keep you warm, but also really comfortable, even in the harshest conditions. They make this stuff in Sweden, and sometimes the weather in Sweden can be a bit chilly.
Oh, yeah.
These garments are worn by people all over the world, whether they're heading to work, going on an adventure, or just enjoying the outdoors. It's an interesting company.
So big commitments to sustainability and ethical practices, from care of the sheep that produces the wool to the manufacturing process and how they handle waste. They ensure they're making a real positive impact at every step of the way of the manufacturing process. They even take it a step further by sewing a name tag into every garment with the name of the seamstress who made it, showing that each piece is crafted with pride and attention to detail. That's pretty cool. I like that.
Woolpower knows exactly what works. They've lived with extreme cold for years. They've got some serious knowledge about how the body reacts to those chilly temperatures and how best to stay warm.
Yeah.
I mean, one of their key insights actually is about how the human body is designed for a tropical climate. Right? Did you know that we're most comfortable at around 27 degrees centigrade?
Wow.
That's the temperature where our body functions optimally.
Oh, wow.
But when temperatures dip, we need to help our body stay warm, right? By staying active, hydrated, and of course, wearing the right clothing.
Yeah, well, Woolpower's base and mid layers help maintain that warmth. So when you get cold, your body starts to shiver to generate heat, and the blood flow to your hands and feet decreases to protect your vital organs. And that's why we often feel cold in our extremities first, even if the rest of our body feels warm. So another thing they emphasize is the impact of sweating. It's a natural reaction to heat, but in the cold, sweat can actually make you feel colder. So Woolpower's garments are designed to manage that moisture, which we've talked about on many occasions before, about moisture wicking, keeping you warm even when you're damp. And they won't retain any unpleasant smells either, which is great.
Yeah. And, you know, Woolpower has this amazing community as well, genuine community. Venturous stories, everyday experiences, the people who wear Woolpower. I mean, they've got some seriously inspiring and often funny stories to share as well. They've got a hashtag Woolpowered, where folks from all over share their personal stories of how they're using Woolpower in their lives.
If you're looking for gear that not only keeps you warm, but also aligns with ethical and sustainable values, Woolpower is definitely worth checking out. We'll be coming back to you once we visited them in Sweden next week.
Brilliant.
What else have we got?
Well, yeah, let's continue with our gear guide. We've got loads of kit coming up today. So first up, right, the Scott Airflow Women's Vest. It's a lightweight vest that's quickly become a favourite thanks to its exceptional comfort and ventilated structure. It's perfect for keeping cool on the slopes, even after a full day of intense skiing. You don't want to overheat, right? The D30 technology offers top-notch impact protection without being bulky. It stays flexible for easy movement and it hardens on impact, providing peace of mind without sacrificing mobility. The adjustable waist belt ensures a snug, comfortable fit, and the removable backplate makes for easy washing. It is a really great choice for skiers that want, both safety and comfort and maintaining that temperature on the slopes.
Nice bit of kit. Next up, the Scott Ultimate Dryo Ripstop men's jacket. I really like the look of this. It's a game changer with a Dryosphere 2L waterproofing. Helps you keep completely dry, even in that sort of damp, slushy conditions or heavy snowstorms. Durable ripstop material ensures longevity, while the lightweight and flexible design gives you freedom of movement on the slopes. Features an adjustable hood for windy days and powder skirt for deep snow, and keeps you covered no matter whatever the weather's like. Plus, the jacket's ample pockets are perfect for storing essentials like your ski pass, goggles, and snacks. Really nice jacket. Just been trying that out. It's very nice indeed.
Nice. Sounds good. I do like a Scott jacket. I've got a couple of old ones, and they've done very well, I must say. Right, we're going to look at a pair of skis here. It's the Head Supershape e-Magnum. Really good for sort of, upper end, intermediate, advanced skiers. Precision, responsiveness. They're designed for, I'd say, carving enthusiasts, people that want to carve on the piste. Exceptional edge grip, even on firm or icy slopes. They've got this mix of power, but they're also smooth and perfect for carving. Relaxed cruising as well. What is really impressive is how versatile they are. If you want to push yourself and really sort of go for it, they hold it up right at that higher end. But if you want to pull back a bit and make more leisurely turns, they work really well as well. We want a ski that performs, but we don't want to always be performing. That's the point with a pair of skis. It's like, it's all very well having an amazing slalom ski, but you try and turn that one, you just go, actually, I just want to pot down this little blue run. They want to perform, you don't. But the Head Supershape e-Magnum, very versatile, kind of will do it all. It will power up, it will dial down. You kind of can get the performance you need out of it.
Sounds good. And for gear storage, the Head Boot Carry-On. It's designed to meet airline carry-on requirements. Just got hold of one of these. You can just slide boots in sort of toe to heel. It's very, very compact for carrying on board. 25 litre storage capacity, allows room for extras like gloves or a spare layer. It's got multiple compartments, making it easy to stay organised. Really durable outer shell. Protects your boots from the elements, while the snug inner lining keeps them secure and warm while you're travelling. So, yeah, it's a really nice bit of kit, actually. I looked at it and thought it was a laptop bag, but it's quite amazing how you can fit your ski boots in there. Yeah, it's really sleek.
Okay, sounds very smart. The Sweet Protection Adaptor MIPS Helmet stands out with its advanced MIPS technology, protects your brain on impact, provides extra protection against rotational forces as well. So this helmet is lightweight and features an adjustable 19-vent airflow to keep you cool on warmer days. The goggle garage prevents fogging as well, and the magnetic buckle makes it easy to fasten. Plus, it's audio ready and includes a removable liner for added convenience. Sweet Protection, always producing the goods.
Yeah, my favourite type of helmet. And then for a stylish and eco-friendly option, the Protest Bakey men's snow jacket. Also nice, made from recycled materials, offered 20k waterproof and breathability, ensuring you stay comfortable and warm all day long. Fully taped seams, helmet-compatible hood, handy pockets for your lift pass and goggles. Jacket is functional and stylish. Really, really nice.
Oh, nice.
What's the last thing, Rob?
Last one up. It's an all-mountain ski this time. It is the Blizzard Anomaly 88. What a ski. Delivers versatility with its true blend wood core and flux form metal layer. Stability and precision as well. These skis really excel on groomed runs, in powder, and in bumps. They offer amazing performance no matter what the terrain. If you want a ski that does it all, the Anomaly 88 hits the spot. It really does. Yeah, of course there's going to be people that say, well, it's not wide enough for a big powder day. Fair enough. For most of the time, the vast majority of the time, 88 underfoot, it does the job. And honestly, on piste, it's brilliant. It carves. It's genuinely one of my favourites. It
Came out very well at the ski test, didn't it? I think
always
it
does.
came out in one of our best all-mountain skis there.
Yeah, I mean, it's only been out 2 seasons now, the Anomaly. Or actually, it's the back end of the first season, but it was the Brahma. You know, they've kind of changed the name, but it's basically what the Brahma was. And they've changed the ski a bit as well, but it's still fantastic.
Good stuff.
So, what else have we got coming up, Dom, in this episode?
Well, exciting part is our Desert Island Ski Resort, where we introduced how to become a ski photographer. I mean, surely it's what we all want to know. We have got the one and only, I mean, it's the name that everybody knows. If anybody said to any of us, name a ski photographer, the first person they'd name is this guy. You may not know it, listeners, but this man is a legend of the industry. Can we call him a legend, Rob?
Definitely.
So the legend that is Ross Woodhall. How are you, Ross?
I'm good. Not bad at all. Good. It's been down the gym.
No. Come on.
So, Ross, my first memory of you weren't such a rock star hippie at that point, but you did a fashion shoot in Zermatt with us many years ago. But
Yeah.
I'd like to take you back way further than when I've known you. What was your first memory of taking photos on the slopes?
Yeah. Well, it was, I just blagged a job as a photographer.
Okay.
And I didn't even know how to open the camera to put the film in. And it was with Tony Harrington. He's an absolute legend of the sport. But I didn't know that. I'd just been chatting to his girlfriend at the top of the chairlift. I just blagged a job with him. It's either that or planting trees. And I thought, well, I didn't go all the way to New Zealand to plant trees. I was doing this snowboard instructor's course, but the whole idea was to be a snowboard instructor and then a professional snowboarder. But I'd left it a bit too late.
How old were you, Ross?
I'd be about 23 or 24 then.
And had you shown any talent for taking a photo before or not?
You know, I'd taken an Instamatic out with me on my first season. And yeah, I didn't even take it out the bag. You know, I mean, you've got to really want to take photographs on a powder day, haven't you?
I do remember, and I think we're going back a long time now, Ross.
Yeah,
I don't think you remember it. Clearly, you are much more memorable than me, but I bumped into you on the top of the mountain at Treble Cone in New Zealand like 30 odd years ago.
I was stoned as a maggot.
Well, anyway, I mean, we said hello to each other, and I remember you having a camera in your hand at that point.
Yeah.
Still pretending.
I just blagged a job with him because I didn't want to plant trees and I wanted to be on the mountain. So he took me up the chairlift and gave me the employee rules, which basically was always smoke a joint in the morning before you go to work. And if it's a powder day, you're not allowed to work.
Right.
So we went up to the top of the mountain. My first shots ever on a mountain were really just people lined up in a snowplow. And that was how it all started. What I didn't realise at the time was Harrow was one of the best ski and snowboard and surf photographers in Australia, if not, you know, one of the best in the world at the time. And I knew him before. I'd met him before because I was snowboard modelling for him, bizarrely. So I sort of knew him, and I was doing these snowboard shots with him, and I ended up working for him, and that's how I got to see how the commercial side of it worked, rather than shooting the clients at the top of the chairlift. That's pay the rent, suffer the guys at the top of the chairlift to pay the rent, and then the luxury bit was shooting for magazines and what have you. So that's how it all started, really.
Which does sound rather glamorous. The world of being a ski photographer, traveling around the world, taking pictures for ski magazines. What could be more glamorous a job than that one? But what is it really like? You know, give us a bit of a flavour.
Well, I mean, to start with, you're just rolling the dice every time because you're messing with Mother Nature. And it doesn't matter what your best laid plans are. I mean, you've all been out in the mountains. You think, you know, you're on the flight out there. This is going to be insane. And you get there and there's fogs down at toe level, or it's boilerplate ice. So, yeah, I mean, it's exciting. I wouldn't go as far as to say it was glamorous, because if it was glamorous, I'd be getting off the plane at their end, taken by chauffeur to a hotel and given a glass of champagne and doing nothing. But no, you know, I mean, it
should come on my trips, Ross.
Yeah. It's hard work, you know. I mean, you're up early and you go to bed late, and those camera bags, they ain't light.
That's something I actually remember about you. You're great fun, you've got great stories, and you're kind of a bit of a mad lunatic, but at the same time, it's quite serious, isn't it? You know, everyone else goes to the bar, everyone else goes out and has a drink, everyone else goes to bed, but you're up with your computer.
Yeah.
You're getting everything right for the customer, aren't you? Every single time you're making sure that things are 100%.
Yeah.
I've never worked with anybody like that with that commitment ever again since.
Yeah. In the days of film, you just went down, put your spent films in a bag or whatever, and charged your batteries, and that was it. You were done. But now with digital, you pretty much have to deal with all of it, back it up again, do the slideshow, meet the clients.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's a big part of it because it gives them the sort of relief almost that it's working, it's in the can, they've got what they want, the copies. So.
And do you think it's got easier with the digital age, or is everyone now a photographer? Do you think?
Yeah,
do you think anybody could score a front page with an iPhone?
Yeah.
Do you?
I might never go myself. Before digital, photography was a dark art. You couldn't see what you were getting in the back of the camera. You had to rely on the light meter. You had to rely on experience. You couldn't just look at it and go, oh, I think I've overexposed that. I better change the settings. You had to get it right on the money. But the difference between somebody doing it as a hobby and somebody doing it professionally is, you know, somebody's paid 60 or 80 grand to get you there to take the pictures. So you better know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's what it was like with film, you know. But nowadays, it's a piece of cake. I mean, now with mirrorless cameras as well.
You say it's a piece of cake, Ross. A few years ago, we were in Switzerland skiing some pretty tricky terrain. Let's just put it that way. And you're on a snowboard with this huge backpack that I could hardly even lift up, let alone ski with over these cliffs and all sorts of stuff. I was concentrating enough on just staying alive. You're not just only doing that. You're snowboarding across this stuff somehow with this bag on your back. And then you get your camera out and start taking pictures.
Well, I have to snowboard because I ruined my left knee. Last day of my first season in 91, I stretched all the medial ligaments in my left knee. So my knee sort of slops around a bit. So skiing was never an option. So I had to snowboard, basically. People say to me, oh, isn't it a nightmare on a snowboard? And I go, yeah. But sometimes it has its benefits because you're just sort of standing on a little door, really, aren't you? I mean,
I get back from wherever I go, Ross, and my photos never seem to reflect the fabulousness that I've seen. So can you give us any hints of how to get a great picture when we're away? Is there a format? Is there a rule that we should stick to?
Yeah, I mean, there's the old classic, isn't it? It's the rule of thirds. So if you're looking at a landscape, maybe you put a bottom third of the picture is land, 2/3 is sky, but maybe the land's better, more interesting than the sky. So it's 2/3 sky, 1/3 land, or something like that. But I mean, we get a lot of people saying, oh, can you shoot video as well? And I always say the same thing. No, because I'm not a videographer.
Yeah.
I don't think like a videographer. I don't think of intros, outros, cutaways.
Yeah.
I just frame things, and I've automatically framed it in my mind. When I look at things, I think, what is the most interesting bit here? How can we utilize that in the picture to make it look astonishing? Mark Shapiro said to me once, if it's rubbish, fill the frame with the skier. So that's what we do. In fact,
Mark Shapiro is a professional ski photographer and also a legendary ski photographer.
But those shots, Rob, I did with you in La Clusaz earlier this year, that was a classic case of fill the frame. Fill the frame with anything, just fill it with skier rather than, you know, the awfulness.
I'm glad I wasn't the awful part.
Are you going to say, you're saying that Rob was so awful you had to fill the frame with a clues around?
Yeah, he obeyed instructions. He came in close.
I mean, you've got tons of stories and they're always very funny. You've worked with some real characters. Is there anyone that you can think of that stands out in the world of skiing that you've worked with?
Well, yeah, I mean, we worked with loads of them. In the 90s in New Zealand, it was great because we had all the Teton boys down and the top names of the time, Chris Davenport, Kent Kreitler, Shane McConkey, Micah Black. All these guys were coming down to work with us. They lived in our house, pretty much. We were like the little media house. That was fabulous. And then sort of 2000 onwards, I mean, I've worked a load with Jim Adlington from Planks. I mean, yeah, he's...
Well, that's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe some of them we can't talk about.
No. But I mean,
On second thoughts.
so Salomon lined me up with him way back in '97. He was a night porter who'd just been given a pair of twin tips when twin tips turned up. He was the new face of skiing, as were the twin tips. So we just went off, and Salomon really pushed the boat out for us in those days. We went down to New Zealand, we went up to Alaska, we went to Canada, and raged. But we always got the work done. We were in Whistler. We had a $3,500 heli budget, and we spent $6,000. Which we had our own helicopter for the day and could go wherever we wanted. It was a metre of fresh. I've got a bit of a golden rule with mountain guides. I always ask for the oldest one because the fact that they're still around means something. And we had this great old guide called Herb, who was Swiss, but he'd lived in Canada for about 30 odd years. He sort of sussed us out first run, and he went, all right, okay. Yeah, we can have fun with these guys. And that was great. Jim was just on fire in those days. I mean, he was launching, 80-foot cliffs and all sorts. It was wild. And we flew him down to New Zealand. We took him fishing. And then the next morning, we had him up at the top of Treble Cone and he launched those rocks. Those rocks at the top of Treble Cone, Rob? Yeah, he launched those and landed and dislocated his shoulder straight away.
Really surprising.
But we did have front cover on a magazine. So then the next 6 weeks we had out there, he couldn't jump, which was, Jim was renowned for his jumping. We just shot crazy powder and crazy steeps. And we went up onto Franz Josef for 5 days, got a helicopter, dropped us off and called them back 5 days later.
Sounds glamorous for someone who says it's not glamorous.
It does. Are they some of your best location memories? It sounds like you love New Zealand.
Yeah, I must go back down there. In those days, it was different. It was spit and sawdust, I remember, because I lived with Harrow and Kath, his girlfriend, for nearly 7 or 8 years down there. They would always get a house every season, all pile in, the media house. They used to have a lot of friends come over from Australia to go skiing with them. I'd be decanted to the garden shed, and I'd live in the garden shed. And, I mean, there were snowboarders in Queenstown living in caves. Well, I think those days are over. I often wonder if we can ever find that sort of spirit again, where it's just
grittiness,
where it's just gritty and where it's real. And I'd really like to spend some time finding these little dirtbag ski towns. They're almost run by the locals, and that's what interests me these days.
I'm thinking though, Ross, because we're here to sort of answer the question of how do I become a ski photographer? And I'm thinking, so you pull out your Instamatic, you've never been recognised as having any talent in taking photos before. How long before you're suddenly a professional ski photographer charging whatever you could get away with charging at the time?
I made $250 first day at the top of the chairlift. But commercially, it was a good 4 years.
Okay.
Ploughing away. I mean, we used to do all sorts of crazy things. We'd put a roll of film in the camera and ponce a 600mm lens off somebody and shoot the full moon. The entire roll of film, the full moon, top right hand corner. Then we'd roll the film back in again, and you just keep it in your bag.
Right.
And then one day you'd go, right, let's do some moon shots then. So then you'd shoot ski action. You'd got a preloaded moon on every frame.
Right.
Got you.
Wow.
So that was in the days before Photoshop.
Develop that film yourself.
We did all our developing negatives. I made a dark tank out of a water system, a tank for a central heating system. And I think my mom made me a cloak that went around with elastic sleeves.
But they were colour photos though, were they?
They were negatives, and that's what we used to sell. We used to do that in France as well. We used to do the university groups. They were just fabulous. You'd meet them on a Wednesday, because by that time they'd drunk themselves into oblivion, and they meet them at lunchtime on a Wednesday, do a group shot of 150 students, take 5 pictures, race down to town, get them developed, order 150 prints, go to the bar that night and meet the guy with the kitty and give him 150 prints, and he'd give me 155 franc notes.
Right.
Wow.
And we used to roll with our own Velvia. So all the film we used to shoot for commercially, for magazines and what have you, we used to buy it in big bulk rolls. And then all the empty canisters we'd been using for negatives, we'd then put them back together again and roll the film in. And I'd shoot for a month, and I wouldn't have the money to develop anything until I'd had a couple of university groups under my belt.
Wow.
and then I'd spend the money on developing, these.
So when you started off, you're basically taking pictures of people on the slopes and selling those pictures to those people.
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of how you cut your teeth in the first few years.
Yeah. But I tell you what, though, you learned how to use a camera.
Mm-hmm.
You really learned how to use a camera. And if you got it wrong, you knew straight away because you just developed it and the client's looking at it going, well, that sucks. And you're not going to make a sale.
Right.
So,
And if you look back now with your knowledge and your life and what you've done, if you look back and you could rewind, would you become a snowboard instructor or would you do the photography bit?
I did the photography. Yeah. I mean, it's been a wild ride, I have to say.
And if you could eradicate digital, would you have liked to have stopped time and carried on with the original 35mm?
No.
Or do you think digital's been a great enhancement for you?
Everyone's going, oh, you must save so much money. You're not shooting film, not buying film. I'm like, yeah, what about all the computers and the hard drives? In some respects, as I said before, it's really easy now to take pictures, which is a great thing. But I wouldn't go back to film just because we've had it too good for too long now. And it's great for clients. If we're doing fashion stuff and what have you, we shoot on the mountain. We shoot straight into an iPad wirelessly. So the client's just standing there with an iPad going, oh, loving this, Ross. I mean, that's great, isn't it? Years ago, you'd rip a Polaroid out and give them the Polaroid. Yeah. How's that look, guys?
And that. Let's be clear. You can compare yourself to somebody that might grab an iPhone or buy an SLR camera and go out there and take some photos. But surely that is not going to work for a brand on a photo shoot because of.
Well, you gather quite a lot of knowledge over the years, and there's a lot goes into it. There's, I mean, you've got you're looking at the weather, you're looking at the snowpack, you're looking at the models. And there's a lot of tricks that you can pull to keep everything on track. It's experience, really, and it can go south when it starts going south. It's knowing how to deal when it all starts going horribly wrong.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
I've seen it both ways, Ross. I've seen it go horribly wrong. I've seen it go very well, and I've seen it go horribly wrong and get turned around again to go very well.
Yeah. We did a shoot last year with Ellis Brigham, and Dave Whitlow has been doing that since early to mid-80s.
Dave Whitlow works for Ellis Brigham, obviously.
Yeah, he's the marketing guy. And he said to me at the end of that shoot that it was literally the most difficult, hardest shoot he's ever done. And the only thing that made him say that was the weather. Yeah. So, again, you're just at the behest of Mother Nature, and the mountains.
Yeah. And anything that you haven't managed to do, yes, have you got anything that's on your bucket list?
I have been talking about it for donkey's years, and I'm going to have to do it soon. And it's a thing called Kings and Corn.
Okay.
So you go up to Alaska at the start of May towards mid-June, and you heli ski in the morning from about 10 o'clock until about 2 o'clock in the afternoon on corn snow. Corn snow is when it gets really wet. It freezes at night into crystals, and then by about 10 o'clock in the morning when the sun gets on it, it's soft enough to move it with a pair of skis or a snowboard. But it's quite, they're big crystals. Right. So when you do a turn, you hear this shh, like somebody's just thrown a shovel full of corn on the floor.
Wow.
So, you ski on this corn snow until sort of 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And then it gets too wet. So they then fly you into the river and you fish for king salmon all afternoon.
Wow.
And then you fly back to the lodge.
In Alaska in a helicopter. And obviously you get corn in the Alps as well, but so often it's skied on. And then if it's skied on, it's completely ruined, of course.
Yeah,
in Alaska,
it's like you need those beautiful sort of big open faces where... Yeah. So that's on the hit list for sure. Yeah.
What about scary moments, Ross? Had any of those?
Hundreds of them, yeah. I mean, you're in the mountains. There's a myriad of scary moments to be had. The helicopter thing can get your pulse racing, for sure. Because I was the heli ski photographer down in New Zealand for a couple of seasons, and that was wild. I mean, proper edge of the seat time. You're jumping out of the helicopters because they can't land. It's too steep, or the knife edge. The air pressure is different either side, and they can't land, so they just hover and you have to jump out. I used to have to load the skis into the cage on one side, then he would lift up and then I'd crawl under and he'd land again and I'd get in. I remember once he lifted up, but my leg was on the other side of the skid and we were right on the edge of a cliff. So he lifted up and my leg went up and I nearly went over the edge of the cliff. And he used to buzz the clients as well on the way back. Like they'd be driving home along the side of the lake and he'd fly about 100 feet over the top of the cars to freak them out. Then he'd fly up and down the valleys and spin around to flush out pigs because he was a real big pig hunter. And he crashed 2 helicopters in the time that I knew him, while I was working with him. When we went up to Alaska the second time, we got a plane up there. The plane had been stuck a week before because he landed and the snow was too deep to get back off again. So he had to get a heli to fly him out, and then they had to go back up and dig the plane out. So this time we went up, he's like, I'm not hanging around when I'm coming into land because I don't want to get stuck. And he flew straight off the end of the glacier by mistake and then had to pull the thing back up again and do a loop round. And anyway, so we all got out and we followed this guide across a glacier and then we hiked up over the top of a mountain. And then he just stood there and he went, lads, this is not good. And we were like, right. And he's going, we've got to traverse across this face now to get around to another face, which is more stable. He said, I'm going to go across. And if it goes and I'm dead, just go down to the valley floor and hang out by the railway line and wait for a train to come.
Right.
Right.
Which could take 3 days.
Yeah. So we all went across this huge face one at a time, looking up, going, oh my God. And then we ran to another aspect and it was a lot safer, but there was huge seracs above us. You could see where they'd been falling off and the debris was down in the on the glacier there. And, we were shooting there for, I don't know, 2 hours or something. And all you could hear was just these huge rumbles of avalanches going down all over the place. When we eventually got back, we got down and we got in this little ski plane to get out of there. And the pilot had just flown in from Seattle or something. He was a jumbo jet pilot and he came to pick us up as a favor, I think. We all got in the plane and we were absolutely drained. It had been a hectic shoot. And he went, guys, I've seen bear tracks. Let's go and find this bear. And he's flying up and down these glaciers trying to find this bear. We're like, just take us home. Even though we've had enough. But yeah, so there's plenty of like hair raising.
Yeah, I'm sure you've got 100 of those stories, Ross. I know you have.
Yeah,
I think it sounds a pretty glamorous story, and I think you've given a great insight to our listeners today on becoming a ski photographer. It's something that I'd always love to have done. I always think that it sounds
never
like
too
a great
late.
thing.
It's never too late, Dom.
I think it is for me. You want to see the photos I take. My daughter's showing some promise, so yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Another one to the collection. Ski photographers now, it's like the fishing industry. There's too many fishermen and not enough trout. There's too many ski photographers and not enough work.
Well, I guess that comes back to the digital age of everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody thinks they're a photographer. Also, everybody seems to be able to turn out something with a better post.
I mean, I don't blame them. It's great fun, It's a good,
absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, that's the other thing as well is on these shoots. One of the most important things for me is the vibe. You've got to get that vibe bang on,
Yeah.
And everybody's got it. If everybody's having a great time, this shoot's a dream. And that's it.
Yeah. This section of the podcast is called Desert Island Ski Resort. The reason we call it that is because our final question is, Rob, are you going to ask the question?
I can ask the question. So, Ross.
Yes.
If there was only one ski resort in the whole world that you would snowboard every day for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Oh, God. Well, there's 2 options. I could go back to what I know, in which case I'd probably go back to Alpe d'Huez to see out my days cruising around Alpe d'Huez, island in the sun, lovely, stable Alpe d'Huez.
Mm-hmm.
Or I'd go, I've just heard about this place called Shames Mountain in Canada.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that's in Canada, in BC, I think. And it's all run by locals.
Love it.
The lifts, the patrolling, everything, the whole thing is run by locals. So,
brilliant.
I mean, I've never been there, but it sounds great.
The idea that somebody would choose the only resort that they would ski for the rest of their life was somewhere they've never even been to.
As long as they've got a garden shed.
I think that sums you up, Ross. It's the perfect finishing line. It's great that you joined us today. Thank you very much for sharing small portion of your knowledge. Hopefully we'll have you on the podcast again.
Yeah, sure, guys.
Anytime
you
you
like.
stories about being a ski photographer.
Lovely. All right.
Enjoy the rest of the season.
Ciao, ciao.
See you
Cheers.
soon.
Bye-bye.
It was good chatting to Ross. I've done many trips with Ross over the years. It's always amusing having him around. Got some very funny stories of just Ross.
He's one of those people that I walk away and think, I don't care whether any of those stories are true or not. They are brilliant stories. He should have his own podcast where he just does a story a week like Jack and Ori used to be. He's definitely rated as a legend of the industry.
This seems a bit steep for a blue.
So, Rob, next up, our destination spotlight of the week, where we always delve into a fantastic destination. But this week, we've got something just a little bit different, haven't we?
Oh, a little bit different. I mean, that is an understatement of the century, Dom. This place is seriously unique. Absolutely.
Yes. So the place we're here to talk about is somewhere that Rob and I were in last week. We just got back on Monday night this week. And that is Nova Scotia, and a new resort called Cape Smokey. It's a resort that used to exist, ceased to exist, and now is being revitalized by the CEO, Martin Kival, who we met while we were there. Cape Smokey up in the top northern tip of Nova Scotia. Rob, what about it? Did you have a good time?
Oh, yeah, I had an amazing time. You know, Nova Scotia, the first thing I'm going to say is, I mean, obviously the scenery and all of that is amazing, but the people are absolutely incredible. Such a welcome from the local people there. Like everybody from the CEO downwards to the locals in the village, to the people on the lifts, to the people that were skiing on the ski hill.
The guy on the guitar.
The guy on the guitar. Good shout out for Dave on the guitar.
Dave, who personally escorted you back to your car at the end of the jamming sessions. Everybody was friendly, Rob.
Yeah.
But Nova Scotia, they did feel almost like that family-style welcome. Did you get the same sort of feel?
Oh, absolutely. It was absolutely genuine because it was a lot of people that we met that didn't even know what we were there to do, or they didn't know who we were. Exactly. Those were people as well, just like so welcoming. And you'd feel like if you were a visitor there, you would just be treated in such a nice way.
Imagine people in Canada not knowing who we are, Rob.
No, we are talking Nova Scotia here. It is a corner of the world that most people don't get to. Do they even have TV? I didn't see one. So, yeah, maybe the people of Nova Scotia, they know us now. They definitely know us now, don't they?
The famous drummer from the UK. So, on that note, let's strip it back. So I'm going to talk a little bit about its location and how to get there, because when you've heard about this, you're going to want to know how to get there. In terms of location, we are talking Nova Scotia, northern part of Canada on the east coast. You can fly there straight out of Heathrow, direct to Halifax in just 4.5, 5 hours. Halifax. Yeah. Great flight. In fact, it wasn't that busy, so we ended up with a few seats each, which was really, really nice. Landing in Halifax, you've got a couple of choices. You could jump in a car, which would take you around about 4.5, 5 hours, depending on how you want to take that trip. So just a little bit further than a Geneva to Val d'Isère, if you like. Fabulous scenic drive as well, and seeing much of Nova Scotia as you drive through. Little ferry ride on a little chain ferry with your car. Or you could take the flash route, which is the route that we took. We were very, very fortunate that Cape Breton, which is that northern island tip, if you like, looked after us by arranging a small plane to collect us from Halifax Airport. So we went straight through the private jet terminal to collect a plane that took 8 of us up to Sydney Airport, a small private aerodrome that you could then pick up a helicopter that flew us directly into Cape Smokey, the town of Inverness.
Yeah, Inverness, yeah.
Inverness. All sounds very rock star, doesn't it? So then we flew up from Sydney Airport straight up to Cape Smokey, flew around the ski resort and landed on the roof of our accommodation for the weekend. We didn't realise that at that point. The flight up from Halifax to Sydney was about 45 minutes, and the flight from Sydney to Cape Smokey was about 30 minutes. So, yeah, quite a way to arrive. For anybody else, there is that option, which isn't hugely expensive when you split it up among 6 or 8 people. The flight time on the plane is about $2,500 Canadian dollars, which is about £1,250 per hour. And of course, the plane's got to get there and back. So it's roughly about 2 hours. It's about £2,500 to get the plane. And I think about 800 up to £1,000 for the helicopter. That just puts it in perspective. You can do the drive about 4.5, 5 hours. So that's location. What about the ski area, Rob?
Cape Smokey ski area used to exist as a not-for-profit back in the 70s and 80s, and then it did close down, and it's now been bought up by a team of people that have had a vision. They bought the land because it was actually owned by the Crown, and they've built a ski resort on it and expanded what was already there. So they put a brand new gondola in, state-of-the-art gondola, and they've also got a drag lift, lots of terrain off of that one gondola at the top, which is quite typical in North America if you think about how the ski resort's structured anyway. And you've got a choice of runs. There's some nice cruisy, easy runs down through the trees. You've got some reds and a couple of black diamond runs as well. In the right conditions, they get some really good snow there, some nice light powder snow. The cool thing is, every run you do, you have this incredible view of the North Atlantic Ocean right below you. The North Atlantic Ocean at the beginning of March, when we were there, is also partly frozen. You've got these icebergs floating in the water, this sea ice coming past you that sometimes forms, sometimes disappears. This incredible landscape in front of you. It's so unique. It starts at sea level. The ski area goes up to around 300 meters, just over 300 meters in altitude. It is not the highest ski area in the world, but you still have a pretty decent vertical drop because you're going all the way down to sea level. The snow was brilliant. They look after the snow really, really well. They've also got artificial snow cannons there as well, so they can make sure the conditions are in good shape. Well-marked runs, well-groomed runs, and I'd say suitable for all levels of skier. They've got a nice beginners area down at the base lodge, which is a really nice base lodge. Great atmosphere in there, wasn't it? They've got ski rental, a cafe and restaurant.
That sort of golf club feel about it, didn't it? It felt like everybody was a member, turning around and asking where we were from. And there was a bit of après dancing going on with a guy. He probably comes and gets a free ski pass for a day and then ends up playing the guitar at the end of the day. So, I mean, it had a really lovely feel about it and great food.
Oh, look, where do we start with the food, Dom? Who's going to talk about that?
Because you're based right on the Atlantic there. They're pulling lobsters out of the sea and sticking it on your plate as fast as you can eat the stuff, isn't it? I mean, it's just incredible.
Literally, when we arrived, the first thing is, how many lobsters would you like? I mean, don't quote me on the price, people, but I'd say no more than £10 for a lobster.
Yeah.
Right. And if you went to a restaurant, it would obviously be a higher cost than that, but they're not going to be the same price as you're going to find them here in the UK.
Exactly.
So,
so they've got this great ski area, this Atlantic gondola taking you straight up basically from the seashore to the top of the hill.
Yeah.
It was a thriving community.
Yeah.
And they've obviously brought this thing back from the dead. It's great to see this being revitalized in an area that, frankly, is an exceptional area. And is known for its summer activities. It's got this Cabot Trail, which is a roadway that runs right the way around this northern tip of Cape Breton, which is absolutely stunning. The coastline is phenomenal. It's got kind of a bit of a Scottish feel in terms of that rugged coastline, or maybe even a Northern Irish feel off it, if you like. These two incredible golf courses that rank in around about top 80 in the world. So they've got this fabulous summer product where people are kayaking, paddleboarding, surfing and golfing. But obviously Martin and his team have come in and realized, look, we're getting 5-6 meters of snow a year.
Yeah.
This is an incredible winter product. And they're looking to smooth that curve off by growing the winter product and saying, hey, actually, not only can you ski, but there are a bunch of other activities that we can do during the winter. They're going to turn this into a year-round destination. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about some of those other activities that we got up to while we were there. Yeah,
I think you're right, Dom. The thing is about going to somewhere like Cape Smokey is, of course, there's a great little ski area there, good value for money. A lift pass is around 50 Canadian dollars a day. You can have a great time skiing that hill, and you could certainly get a few days out of it. But on the other hand, there's tons of other things you could do. We did a snowmobile safari. You can go for miles. There are trails. You start from the ski area and you just go into the wilderness. And it really is wilderness. You're riding through really nicely put together trails. It's relatively easy to do. You don't have to be an expert to go around these trails. They're nicely laid out and you can literally go for miles. It kind of feels endless. Yep. We went out for hours and eventually had to turn around. We could have gone a lot further. So you can have easily a day on a snowmobile, just going out on a safari. You know, if you're lucky enough to spot some moose, they have more bald eagles in that region than anywhere else in North America. So you are likely to spot a bald eagle as well. Other wildlife like deer and that kind of thing as well. They do have some small black bears, but we didn't see any of those. Obviously, it's wintertime. They're not dangerous and they're quite small there. It's not like grizzlies. It's a really nice adventure to go out on those snowmobiles and really be in the wilderness. The other thing we did was, despite the sea ice and the icebergs, we went surfing in the sea. It is a really incredible surfing area, very popular in the summer for surfers, but you can actually go surfing in the winter. And if you want to go surfing, they will arrange that for you. They did give us incredibly good wetsuits, really thick with hoods, gloves and booties. We spent almost an hour in the water. I was looking at that water with all the ice on it going, I'm going to dip my toes in that water and I'm going to run out again and I won't be in there for longer than 2 minutes. I mean, it's freezing cold. We were in there almost an hour and we were fine. We jumped in the hot tub afterwards and that was quite nice. But I feel the cold. You know, I do feel the cold and I was thinking this isn't going to last more than a few minutes. Yeah. It did. And we had a lot of fun. I mean, we did have a lot of fun, didn't we?
Absolutely
playing in the waves and behind the iceberg.
Absolutely. And of course, if you don't want to surf, you can paddleboard. If the surf, there was one day when the surf wasn't up, and I think one group went paddleboarding. But on the day that we went, the waves came in, actually point break for us on that day, but we didn't want it to be fair. We had some good little waves to be able to do some bodyboarding and some surfing.
Yeah, we did. And the other thing you can do there is there's a Nordic Centre just up the road. So if you like cross-country skiing, you can do that again in this incredible sort of wilderness area. And the other thing we did, Don, was a bit of backcountry skiing as well. Now, you've got to think this region, right, geographically used to have huge mountains like the size of the Himalayas. But during the last ice age, the glaciers took it all away. It literally stripped the entire mountain range off and it left the granite base behind. The granite base goes up to about 350 meters above sea level at its highest point. But there are all these hills and valleys everywhere. They get a ton of snow. And these hills are tree lined. So think Japan. Imagine skiing through those trees in the powder. That is a little bit what this region of Cape Breton is like. You need to be a ski tourer. But if you can ski tour and you like ski touring, there is a huge amount of potential there. And there are people in Cape Smokey that know the area quite well. They've done a lot of exploring. There's different areas for different levels. We ended up going for the top of the weekend ski. Let's go for the crazy trail. It was steep and challenging terrain, but there's lots of other mellow terrain there as well that you can enjoy if you're into ski touring, because there's obviously but there's just huge, vast, major wilderness areas of this stuff. And it's nice, easy access. You know, it's quick ski tour up. It's a 300 meter vertical descent going down, job done, back up again. If you like lapping that sort of stuff and skiing powder in the wilderness, it's fantastic for that. There are activities you can do away from actually being on the ski area as well, whether you're, you know, an expert off-piste skier or if you just want to potter around and then go snowmobiling and paddleboarding.
Driving at this stage, it's not a resort you're going to turn up to and ski all day, every day for a week like you would in the Three Valleys or the Dolomite. It's somewhere where you're going to get maybe a few mornings skiing or a couple of days skiing, and you're going to do multiple other activities as well. And to put in perspective, you know, we're not talking a metropolis of an area. We haven't got hotels. We haven't got bunches of chalets. When we flew in by helicopter, we landed on the roof of a building that we thought was just a building that we were able to land on so that we could be taken to our accommodation. Only to find out that we landed on the roof of the building that we were going to be staying in. Essentially, the most expensive house that's ever been sold in the whole of Nova Scotia. £10 million lodge built on the cliff front facing the ocean called Redhead, a fabulously architecturally designed and beautifully furnished lodge or chalet, if you like, single-story building with 4 or 5 bedrooms and a huge kitchen dining area. They are about to build another 7 of these right on the ocean front. An exceptional place to stay, Rob. Of all the places we have stayed in, it was certainly up there in the top accommodations, wasn't it?
This place is incredible, and they are building more of these lodges. They're going to build 7 more of
7 more, yeah,
of these lodges on a huge plot of land that the team there has bought. You wake up in the morning and open your curtains, and you've got this North Atlantic Ocean with sea ice floating past you. It's surreal. I'm going, hang on a second. What's happened here?
And snow between your door and the sea. So you're looking out on snow and seeing the sea. You think the snow should either be the beach or the sea should be a mountain, but actually you've got both. It's quite incredible, isn't it? So that's 5,000 Canadian per night. So that equates to around about £3,000. Don't quote me exactly on that, but roughly. But you have got you could probably sleep 8 to 10 and possibly more people there, but around 8 to 10 people very comfortably.
Oh, yeah.
A couple of gymnasiums and a sauna and rowing machine and a proper gym and a cinema room and a big open plan snooker dining kitchen area. So a beautiful place to stay. But not everybody's going to be flying in by helicopter, Rob. Tell us a little bit about what else they're building there for people to stay in.
Yeah, so there are other options for accommodation. There's the Lantern Lodges as well, which are very close to the ski area. They are developing 78 new houses right by the ski area itself. Literally ski in. You might have to walk a few meters up to the ski lift. That's going to be opening very soon. These 78 houses have 3 bedrooms in them. They're built to a very high spec, but they are $1,200 a night for the 3-bedroom lodge. So a very different price point.
And that's Canadian dollars.
That's Canadian dollars. That's about $800 a night, actually.
Okay.
The other thing about this place, you've got to remember, it's right on the sea. In the winter, that sea is frozen in that section, completely frozen. Certainly at this part of the winter, if you go a little bit earlier, it probably wouldn't be. You've got this incredible development. They're building quickly, right? This is being put up now through this summer, and they're developing a village there as well, like a resort village with some restaurants, with cafes, with a fish market that you can actually go along just to that fish market and buy lobster, scallops, haddock, all that fresh fish that's coming straight in from the sea, and either cook that in your lodge, in your 3-bedroom lodge, or go to a restaurant there. They're creating a brand new ski resort. They are selling these houses to people. You can buy one and rent it out, or you can just go there and rent it for a week or however long you might be in Cape Smokey. This is a very exciting development that's going to be there all year round.
And just behind that, what they're calling their Rodeo Drive, they're going to be building a hotel block with restaurants and fish market and a microbrewery.
Yeah.
Full of plans to create a whole community right at the bottom of the hill here to accompany the gondola and expanding that ski area by up to 4, 5 or 6 times bigger as well.
Yes, good point, Dom. And I didn't mention that when I talked about the ski area before, but there are big plans to extend the ski area on one side of the mountain. It does look like a mountain, and that's very exciting as well. That whole project is incredible. Yeah. Go there to experience this place. It's ready to take visitors now. The ski area is fully open.
I think to put it in perspective, it's an adventurer's holiday. You know, if you're a family that enjoys turning up to Maribel and having a high street of shops and just going out to dinner every night and skiing an area every day, it's probably not for you. But if you're more of an adventurous family that enjoys hiking, biking, trailing, that kind of stuff, that kind of family adventure holiday, this is a different style of adventure altogether. You are not talking about arriving to a high street of shops, a metropolis of hotels and apartments. You are talking about a quiet area, a unique offering in terms of a very bespoke offering. So if you turn up one day and the weather doesn't lend itself towards skiing and you want to go snowmobiling, they will arrange that. If you decide you want to try touring and you haven't got touring gear, they will fit you up with touring gear.
Yeah.
This is very much a bespoke offering without that bespoke price tag, because there are going to be people on hand wanting to make that trip fabulous. But I guess what I'm trying to iron out is this isn't just your average family week holiday. This is something that's very, very different and very, very special and quite wild, isn't it?
You know, I completely agree with all of that, Dom.
You are turning up something that's a bit more wild, but getting away from the fact the ski lodge is fab, the ski area is great, there's lots of opportunity. And for me, I would take my 2 kids there and have a couple of days skiing and snowmobiling and surfing. But it is a wild holiday.
Oh, yeah. No, look, I completely agree with all the things you've said, Dom. And I will add to that. I mean, we're going to go to Nova Scotia. We're going to go skiing. We're going to go snowmobiling. We're going to see moose. We're going to see the North Atlantic frozen. We're going to go across icebergs. This is a once-in-a-lifetime trip. And you're going to get there and you're going to go, oh, I love this place. And the people are so nice. And, you know, I want to come back in the summer, right? So, yeah, it is very different to your typical skiing holiday in the Alps. I mean, you can't really compare it. But I enjoyed the skiing. I genuinely enjoyed the ski area. It was a really nice, friendly ski area. Even though we were there on what was probably a busy weekend in the middle of the season, we didn't queue to get on that gondola. You know, we get to the top, there's loads of space. It's not crowded. And then you get into that ski lodge. There was a brilliant atmosphere. There's a guy playing guitar, live music. Everyone's having a drink at the end of the day. And the community all knows each other. And then you've got a few random people coming in as well, maybe from Halifax, maybe from Sydney. And then you've got us from the UK as well. It was just a lovely community feel and nice atmosphere.
Yeah, absolutely. And so for anybody that wants to find out more information, you can head over to the In the Snow Mag YouTube channel, where a video has just been launched that will show you all the visuals about what we saw and what we did while we were in Cape Smokey, and decide if this is a holiday for you. We will leave links in the show notes of how you can find out more information. I'm pretty sure that at some point a tour operator in the UK is going to say, look, we can take people to this place. But at the moment, you can book directly. Pretty exciting experience, Rob. What have you got coming up next? What's your next trip?
Well, just been in Maribel, currently in Crans-Montana. I'm heading over to Grindelwald, then I'm back to Morzine, and then I'm off to Arosa. So there's lots going on this month for me, Dom. What about you?
Well, I'm out in Chavinia at the moment, and the snow is great. We're having a great time just over the back of Zermatt there and enjoying the skiing here. That's it for this week, Rob.
I know.
What a week, eh?
Oh, my goodness. What a week. I mean, we're right bang in the middle of March. Still plenty of the ski season left, isn't there?
Plenty left.
Yeah. I don't know if there's lots of it left for me once I get to the end of March, but I'll see how it goes.
Well, listener, thanks so much for tuning in to the White Owl Ski Podcast. We hope you're excited and you're ready to take on your next trip. If you like today's episode, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Send us an email if you want us to talk about something, and leave a review. Leaving a review means other people can find this ski podcast. Rob, until next week, have a good ski.
Enjoy the slopes of Chavinia.
Will do, and you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I'm pretty sure it's called a walkie-talkie, mate.